Welcome to Space Mysteries, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The scene is a lavishly decorated room dripping with gold leaf, every inch designed to impress and intimidate. The air is thick with the scent of polished wood and old money, a setting where history is made and egos are tested. Above, chandeliers sparkle with a cold, almost theatrical brilliance, fixtures that wouldn't look out of place in a Disney villain's lair, casting dramatic shadows on the faces below. At one end of a comically long, gleaming table sits Donald Trump. He's the picture of self-assurance, his trademark grin firmly in place, already envisioning headlines about another big, beautiful win. Every gesture, every glance is calculated for maximum effect. He's here to dominate, to seal the deal, to add another victory to his legend. Opposite him, Mark Carney, the former governor of the Bank of England, sits with quiet poise. Carney's demeanor is the polar opposite, calm, measured, and unflappable. He's a man who's weathered financial storms, who knows the power of patience and precision. Trump, ever the showman, extends his hand for the cameras, already composing the perfect victory tweet in his mind. The room seems to hold its breath, anticipating the handshake that will seal the moment. But Carney doesn't play along. He simply nods, clears his throat, and with a polite but firm tone, declines the U.S. trade deal. No drama, no raised voice, just a quiet, resolute no that echoes louder than any speech. Instantly, the temperature in the room drops. Trump's confident smile falters, replaced by a look of disbelief and irritation. The power dynamic shifts in a heartbeat. For a moment, silence reigns, broken only by the frantic clicking of press photographers, desperate to capture the drama. Every flashbulb seems to underline the tension, immortalizing the standoff for the world to see. This wasn't just a simple rejection, it was a public puncturing of one of the world's most famous egos. Trump, who thrives on spectacle and applause, finds himself momentarily deflated, his narrative slipping out of his grasp. For Trump, every deal is a contest of willpower, a stage for his brand of bravado. He came expecting to win, to walk away with another legendary triumph to broadcast to his followers. Instead, he's met with a quiet, unwavering no from a man who values substance over spectacle, details over drama. Carney's refusal isn't just about the deal, it's a statement about the kind of leadership he believes in. The handshake that never happened becomes an instant symbol, bluster versus substance, two worlds and two egos colliding in a single, unforgettable moment. And the fallout? It's about to be spectacular. The world's watching, and the story is just beginning, a tale of two egos and the shockwaves they send through history. Before we dive into the chaos and controversy, let's take a step back and clear up a basic question that gets thrown around a lot, but rarely explained in plain English. What exactly is a trade deal? At its most basic, a trade deal is an agreement between two or more countries that lays out the rules for how they'll buy and sell goods and services to each other. It's like a contract, but on a massive international scale. Imagine the world as a gigantic flea market, with every country running its own stall. A trade deal is the set of rules that says who can sell what, how much tax you pay at the door, and what quality standards you have to meet. These rules cover things like tariffs, which are taxes on imports, plus regulations, safety standards, and more. For instance, let's say the US wants to sell pickup trucks to the UK, and the UK wants to send its famous biscuits to America. Without a trade deal, both sides might slap on heavy taxes to protect their own car makers or biscuit bakers, making those products more expensive and harder to sell. These taxes, or tariffs, can make it tough for businesses to compete and for shoppers to get the best deals. It's like putting up toll booths at every border crossing, slowing everything down and making it cost more. A trade deal aims to lower or even remove these barriers. By cutting tariffs and simplifying customs checks, it makes it easier and cheaper for companies to do business across borders. That means more products on the shelves, often at lower prices, and more opportunities for businesses to grow. But tariffs are just the tip of the iceberg. Trade deals also set the rules for things like food safety. Will the UK accept US chicken that's been washed in chlorine? And for services like banking, insurance, and even digital products. These rules can affect everything from what's in your shopping cart to how your money moves around the world. The big idea behind trade deals is to make business smoother, give consumers more choices, and at least in theory, help everyone get a little richer. When trade flows freely, economies can grow, jobs can be created, and people can access goods they might never have seen before. But here's the catch. Not all trade deals are created equal. Some are win-win, but others can be lopsided, with one side getting more benefits or more control than the other. Picture this. You lend your neighbor your lawnmower, your hose, maybe even your car. But then your neighbor starts telling you how to trim your hedges, what flowers to plant, and when to water your grass. Suddenly, the deal doesn't feel so fair. That's where trade negotiations get complicated and sometimes downright messy. Each side wants the best deal for themselves, and sometimes that means long arguments, walkouts, and even threats to walk away entirely. The problem is, not every deal is a good one. Some can hurt local industries, cost jobs, or force countries to accept rules they don't like. That's why trade deals can spark protests, heated debates, and endless headlines. And as we'll see, Donald Trump was about to find out just how tough and risky making a trade deal can be, especially when the stakes are sky high. The real sticking point in these high-stakes negotiations? It wasn't just about tariffs or quotas or even the usual back and forth over who gets to sell more cheese or cars. The real issue ran much deeper, touching the very core of what it means to be part of a modern trade agreement. The so-called EU-style trade deal was at the heart of the debate, a model that goes far beyond simple exchanges of goods. In trade talk, EU-style means deep integration, shared rules, common standards, and almost frictionless trade across borders. It's not just about removing tariffs, it's about making sure everyone plays by the same rulebook, so business can flow smoothly. Imagine it like moving in with your neighbor and sharing a bank account, not just popping over to borrow a cup of sugar. You're agreeing to trust each other, to pool resources, and to make joint decisions about how things are run. Regulatory alignment is key. If a product is safe in one country, it's automatically safe in the other. No need for extra checks or paperwork at the border. This saves time, money, and hassle for businesses and consumers alike. But there's a catch: freedom of movement. This isn't just about goods, it's about people too. Workers, students, and families can cross borders as easily as products do. Goods and people can cross borders freely, creating a truly single market where opportunity isn't limited by geography. For the EU, this principle is non-negotiable. It's the foundation of their entire system, take it or leave it. Trump's team, however, wanted the benefits: easy access for US businesses, the ability to sell and operate in Europe without taking on the obligations that come with it. No say for the UK in setting the rules, and definitely no free movement of people. They wanted to keep their independence but still enjoy the perks. In other words, they wanted all the club perks without paying the membership dues or following the club's rules. Mark Carney, the Bank of England governor, saw right through this approach. He understood the complexities and the realities behind the headlines. He knew you can't cherry-pick the best bits and ignore the rest. Trade deals are about compromise, not just wish lists. The UK wasn't about to become a rule taker, simply following orders from Brussels without a voice in the process. And Carney wasn't buying what Trump was selling. He knew that real trade deals are about give and take, not just getting your way. Carney says no. The handshake is off. Trump's reaction? Instant rage. Witnesses say his face matched his red campaign hats. He slammed the table, accused Carney of being ungrateful, and launched into a tirade about the UK needing America. For Trump, it wasn't about trade details, it was about winning and losing. "You're making a huge mistake. I make the best deals," he reportedly shouted. This is Trump's style: frame everything as a personal contest. If you disagree, you're not just wrong, you're a loser. For him, a trade deal is a surrender document, not a partnership. Carney's refusal wasn't just a setback, it was a personal insult, and Trump does not handle insults quietly. While Trump erupted, Carney stayed calm, unflappable, rational, and quietly firm. He didn't argue or raise his voice, he simply restated his position. Carney's refusal was pure calculation, not ego. The US deal would have meant the UK accepting American rules, on food, environment, everything, without a say. That's not sovereignty, that's surrender. Brexit was about taking back control, not handing it to another superpower. Carney knew a bad deal would be political suicide at home. His stance: trade, yes, but as equals, not as a vassal. No sacrificing standards for a quick win. He was playing the long game, protecting the UK's future. Here's the key: sometimes no deal is better than a bad deal. A bad trade deal can lock a country into disadvantage for decades, Imagine a small coffee shop forced to sell only Starschmucks beans, use their cups, and follow their rules for 25 years. Suddenly you're not independent, you're just a franchisee. That's what Carney wanted to avoid. A bad deal could force the UK to lower food, environmental, and labor standards. Once signed, these changes are hard to reverse. It could devastate British industries like farming and erode national identity. No deal is better than a bad deal isn't just a slogan, it's self-preservation. Independence means walking away from a bad offer, no matter who's shouting. Carney understood this, and he stood firm. At the heart of this standoff, sovereignty versus market access, the symbol chlorinated chicken. For US agribusiness, selling their chicken in the UK is a prize. For the British, it's about food safety and regulatory philosophy. The UK follows the precautionary principle, ban it until it's proven safe. The US says it's fine until proven harmful. Accepting US chicken would mean shifting away from European standards. Carney drew a line. Sovereignty and standards aren't for sale. Sometimes values matter more than cheap imports. Carney's walkaway wasn't petulance, it was strategy. In negotiations, power comes from being willing to walk. By rejecting Trump's offer, Carney showed the UK wouldn't be bullied or exploited. This strengthened Britain's hand for future deals. It signaled, we're open for business but on fair terms. Carney's approach was chess, not chaos, thinking several moves ahead. The goal: sustainable, mutually beneficial relationships, not quick wins. Britain's strengths, finance, tech, universities, make it a valuable partner. Saying no to a bad deal was a bet on Britain's future. Sometimes the smartest move is to walk away. So, what's the lesson from this clash of egos and values? Trade isn't just about swapping goods, it's a complex mix of economics, politics, and identity. Trump's style zero-sum, headline-driven, win at all costs. Carney's style substance, detail, and long-term thinking. Good deals require mutual respect and shared interests, not dominance. The fine print matters. These choices shape nations for generations. Beware leaders who promise easy answers and fantastic deals. Sovereignty isn't a slogan, it's the hard work of protecting national interests. The Trump-Carney standoff was more than a trade spat. It was a lesson in knowing your values and having the courage to walk away. And that's a lesson worth remembering long after the shouting stops.